Hello, everybody. Okay, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I just want to. Okay, considering that I'm somebody who was raised by my grandparents, they're elderly and they are in great condition. Okay, this is the third time I try to do this video, so let's try again. Take 4. The color just changed on my phone. Okay. I was raised by my grandparents, okay? My grandparents are everything to me, okay? They're in great health. But if something were to happen to them, I would be and I'm just one person, but I would be devastated. My grandparents are extraordinary human beings, okay? I even think they're alien. They're they don't sweat, they don't get tired. They're amazing people. They're elderly, okay? Now, from the beginning of this coronavirus, maybe I shouldn't have said that. I might have to bleep it out. At first, I was iffy. I didn't really buy it. I didn't believe it. I wasn't too sure. And I'm still not too sure. But what I can say right now, because, social experiments are being done all the time, okay? We can't just use rats for experiments. They're social animals like humans. They're not human. So, psychologists are constantly doing surveys, the census, experiments, to see how behavior changes, to see how people react, how we would behave, how happiness is achieved. Many different reasons, okay? Isolation, mental health. Loneliness is not the same as aloneness, okay? Loneliness is self-induced isolation, whereas solitude, I should say solitude, whereas loneliness is the product of your unmet expectations with your relationships, your day-to-day connections, the connections you wish to have. It's a resentment, it's a shortcoming, okay? Now, since all this started, and I'm going to include this, I did notice that there was, everything has seemed extremely fake. People die every day. I'm not saying they don't. We're just looking at it right now, okay? And there's been studies on children who are separated from their parents, the effects of that separation. Okay, but what about when children are separated from their friends, from their teachers, from being able to play? Adults are not as fun, I think my cat is losing her mind. But during the news, when I forgot what news it was, they went live, there was something I caught, and I don't know if anybody else in the world didn't catch it, but I caught it.
This series of protests, were you ever arrested before? Would you have ever done this?
I have never been arrested before these protests, and I don't plan on being arrested after these protests. I just want my brothers and sisters to stop being unlawfully arrested. Stop with these excessive sentences. Stop with these with their own eyes. But what this president has convinced everyone is to not believe their own eyes and ears. That we're violent, that we're here to hurt you and take your communities. We are not. We are here to have communities mixed with all of us, because those days are gone.
Let me ask you a question, because I know you have to move. You can see they're beginning to
I've been arrested twice. Yes, fine.
How many people do you think are getting arrested tonight versus this series of protests? Were you ever arrested before? Would you have ever done this?
I have never been arrested before these protests, and I don't plan on being arrested after these protests. I just want my brothers and sisters to stop being unlawfully arrested. People like me who actually know what the movie...
I don't know why that happened, but I don't like to be lied to. You guys should know that. I think every life matters. I don't care if you're a serial killer or somebody at the top of the food chain. Your life matters because you're a living and breathing organism, period, until the day you stop. Okay? Hate is passed by misconceptions, social study books. Racism goes on and on by, it's driven by money, misinformation, hate that gets taught, many different reasons, okay? Lies. It boils, one word that to sum it up is lies, okay? Things are being shut down, businesses are closing, people are suffering, people are losing it. People are having nightmares. There's hormones being affected. There's lack of sleep. There's unconscious paranoia, surveillance that's happening because the trust is shaky. We don't know what to think, who to believe, what's going on. Everybody's afraid. People are acting crazy and out of character on the streets. They're easily influenced. Nobody knows what's real and what's not. Okay. I don't know. I could be wrong on this. Is all. I don't want you guys to take me for gospel. Look into things yourself and don't go with the first thing you find, and don't let the news tell you what to think. This is yours. Everybody has their own. Use yours. Okay? If it doesn't sit well with you, then look a little more and you know, things don't look real. When there's deaths on the news, families are devastated and they talk about it. This has been completely driven by the media, and it's intense. It's, and it's still been enough to rile up the world. Okay? I understand people are dying. I get it. Don't talk to me about death. I buried the number one person. But since it started, I've noticed a lot of weird things. We've been pretty watched. And that's fine. Maybe it's an experiment, and hey, those things are necessary for us to, to understand how things work, how people work, how the mind, okay. But why is it, and I will include photos at the end, and then you guys can do some research. Why is it that Sweden has gotten their numbers down to zero? Zero deaths. And they had a very loose, from what I know, and I don't want to butcher it because I don't remember the name, but there's a scientist who is very laid back, and he takes a very, very, very peace of mind kind of approach to things, very relaxed. And he just separated the elderly from the young, because the young are built to be more immune. They're in better condition, okay? It's called herd immunity. And that's pretty well known. If everybody gets a disease, and eventually it can't go anywhere else. It can't bounce from me to somebody else. It can't do that. It dies out. If everybody gets it, you become immune to it. The elderly are delicate, and I don't care how old they are. They matter. They matter to me. Okay? This generation needs the elderly for some kind of example. You know what I mean? So to brush them off is wrong. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. To keep the elderly separate from the younger, to not shut down the schools because they still need that interaction, is smart. And it worked. They have their numbers down to zero. But on some search engines, we're being told that it's an example of what not to do and that it failed. But numbers are showing that it did not fail. Their numbers are down to zero. They have zero. Zero. Not one more person is dying from the virus there. So, whatever the reason behind this is, nobody deserves to be dying. Our lives are not a game. Yeah, life is one big game, I get it. But your life matters. Your kid's life matters. My life matters. From the top to the bottom, every single life matters. I don't care if you're a sinner or a saint. You matter. You're here. You have a purpose, whether people like it or not. Okay? So, stop being afraid. Do your research. And just look. Sweden's numbers have gone down to 0. Okay? That's because they didn't exactly do the lockdown the way that the US has done things. And you will see. They were much more lenient. It just goes to show, because back in World War II, they got everybody. It was not a live and let die kind of way of thinking. They got the whole community involved. Everybody played a part in their nations, in the country's survival. Everybody was able to volunteer. Everybody had a role to play. Okay, it wasn't just the rich do their thing and the poor have to struggle. It wasn't. And that's kind of what they've done now. Everybody plays a part in saving the life of where they live, of where they're from, of their roots, their country. Here, we kind of we matter based on our bank account, based on what we have to offer, and not everybody can help, or we don't know how to help, or we don't feel like we can help, and that's where the community falls apart. You know what I mean? It's okay for the kids to be playing. They're strong. They're resilient. That may just be what saves the life, what ends this, what creates this immunity. Okay? Look into it, because Sweden's numbers down to 0. Statistically, they're down to 0. Not one more death has taken place. Okay? That's pretty amazing. So, all my respects to the scientists, to these, these pathologists that study blood and antibodies. They are doing something right, and it's hard, but we can get back to a somewhat normal state of being. Okay? So, breathe. I love you guys. Bye. And the moral of the story is, there's still hope. I think there is. There's always hope. Okay? Just wanted to point that stuff out. Don't be played for a fool. We have everything it takes within us. Okay? I love you guys. I hope I didn't lose you. Okay, do your research and don't touch your face. Bye.